and welcome everyone. This is Minu at AngloLink. First, let me thank all of you who have posted questions for me on YouTube, on Facebook, and on our website's forum. Today I'm going to share the answers to some of the questions that our members have posted on our AngloLink forum, as I think they're quite useful for all of you. I'm going to start with one general question and then move on to some specific language points. Looking at the first question then, it comes from Senvin, and he or she asks, how can I increase my vocabulary? Now, Senvin himself suggests reading newspapers, reading magazines, and listening to others. And another member, Shanu, suggests looking words up randomly in a dictionary and then practicing them. Now, as I have said in my previous video, if your objective is to converse with native speakers of English, really the best way to improve and increase your vocabulary range is by listening, because that will help you with the listening comprehension at the same time. Now, there's nothing wrong in looking up words randomly in the dictionary or reading, but if you're learning vocabulary like that, please remember and make sure that you learn the pronunciation of the words as well. Look those words up in a dictionary, in a talking dictionary, and repeat those words after the native speaker until you're perfectly familiar with the pronunciation as well. Let's look at some specific language questions that AngloLink members have posted for me on our website. The first question I've chosen is from Kameswari, referring to my video lesson on the difference between going to future and using the present continuous tense for the future. Kameswari says, in the third example of the comparison between going to and present continuous, I get confused as the going to example uses a future time marker. The sentence is, he's going to see his lawyer next week. And Kameswari's question is, why can't we use he's seeing his lawyer next week? Now, to remind you, both sentences are correct. You can say he is going to see his lawyer next week or he is seeing his lawyer next week. But the meanings are different. He is going to see his lawyer next week means that he has planned, he has decided to do this, but he hasn't made an appointment with his lawyer yet. Whereas he's seeing his lawyer next week means that he has already made an appointment. This appointment is in his diary and there is a specific time and date, although the time and date are not specifically mentioned. If you still have any doubts about the differences between going to future and the present continuous for the future, have a look at my video. This question now brings me to the next question posted by Andre, who asks about the expression to be about to. He says, to be about to or to be to, aren't those expressions similar to be going to? What are the differences, if any? As I've just explained, to be going to indicates a personal plan or decision for the future. For example, I'm going to open my presents now. Or it can be a plan for the distant future. I'm going to visit Japan next year. Whereas to be about to is only for something that you've decided to do right away. So you can say, I'm about to open my presents, but you can't say, I'm about to visit Japan next year. And the expression to be to, for example, I am to visit Japan next year, is not really a personal plan or decision, it's an external one. It means you are expected to, you are supposed to, or you're obliged to do this. Right then, the next question is still about tenses, and it's to do with present perfect with the verb work. It's posted by Sunilk, who says, I have worked for the ABC company for 2 years. Is there a mistake in the above sentence? I want to express that I worked in ABC from 2009 to 2011, and then I left the company in 2011. A very good question. It comes up quite a lot. The use of the tense present perfect, especially with the verbs work and live. Remember that I have worked for ABC for 2 years is exactly the same as I have been working for ABC for 2 years. This is because the verbs work and live can be considered either as action verbs or state verbs. If you consider them to be action verbs, you can put them in the present perfect continuous tense. I have been working for such and such a company for so long. If you consider them to be state verbs, you can't put them in the continuous tense and you switch to the present perfect simple. I have worked for ABC for 2 years. So, if you want to indicate that you worked in a company and it's over, it's finished, or you lived somewhere and it's over and finished, avoid using the present perfect. Just use the past simple tense. I worked for ABC for 2 years. And ideally, you should specify the period in the past. So I worked for ABC for 2 years between 2009 and 2011. If you have any doubts about the use of state verbs, especially with the present perfect tense, you may want to watch my video on state verbs. That's where I clarify these points for you. Staying with the tenses, a very good question from one of our members, present simple or past simple. They say, we are studying a story called Journey to the Center of the Earth. The teller said that the story happened or started in 1863. And there's a question in the story saying, in what year does Journey to the Center of the Earth take place? My question is does here right or wrong, and why? A very good question, which also comes up quite often. This has to do with the use of the present simple tense to tell jokes and stories. It's very common to use the present simple tense instead of the past simple tense in order to make the story more immediate and more engaging. A lot of writers and people who tell jokes use the present simple tense instead of the past simple tense. So don't be surprised if you come across this. Right, moving on. The next question I've chosen is from our member Opemi. He says, in the present simple versus present continuous video tutorial, you said our company produces glass. Is it not our company produce glass, and why? Words like company, police, government, team, etc. that refer to a group of people can take both the singular and the plural verb. It depends on the verb. If the verb refers to the group as a whole, then we use the singular verb. And if the verb refers to each member of the group doing the same thing, we use the plural verb. For example, we would say the company produces the product, because it's the company as a whole, but the police are searching for more evidence, because every member in the police group is doing the same thing. In the UK, we often use the plural form, but finally it's really the decision of the speaker which form is the most suitable. And that brings me to our last question, which is a fun question. Our member Shanu says, what does OK stand for? One of my friends said to me that he was told by the teacher that OK stands for order kept. Is this true? Now, the origin of this expression is not very clear, but the common belief is that OK stands for all correct. Now, you would say all correct should abbreviate to AC, but if you think about it phonetically, all correct phonetically abbreviates to OK. And then it's been spelled out as OKAY. So really, there's no difference between O.K. or OK. Right then, this brings me to the end of this question and answer video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please click the like button. And do post all your questions for me either on YouTube or on Facebook or on our website, anglolink.com. If you post your question on anglolink.com in our forum, you will be able to get more answers from our members as well and exchange your opinions. Well, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye now.